Hi everyone. So think we just wait for one more minute to have more people to join. Hi, welcome everyone. All right. So think we already have a lot of people joining right now. So think we may start right now. So welcome everyone. It's Miranda and I'm today's host. So welcome everyone to our AMA session today. So we are really excited to explore Nerochain's ecosystem development and the latest progress with you. So Jake, which is the founder of the Nerochain, will join us today and share his insights about Nero's unique features, ecosystem growth, and the future vision. And later we will also explore more on the community questions and also take the lab questions from our audience. All right, so let's get started with a quick introduction of Jake. So hi, Jake.
Hey everybody, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks so much for joining the AMA. Yeah, excited to have these be one of our first AMA sessions. Yeah, quick little introduction about myself. Yeah, early days I was physics and engineering by background, and then spent quite a bit of time in traditional finance. My first kind of job was actually at the Air Force Research Laboratories, where I was doing laser tissue interaction studies, studying safety standards for safe use for lasers in the skin. But I kind of got drawn over to the finance side of things quite soon after graduating engineering school, and where I spent some time doing market making for a company called Chicago Trading Company, which is, think of them as kind of similar to your, Jane Street or your Susquehannas, that type of thing. I spent a while in the options pits. So like literally when you think about like trading floors or trading pits, like I was there in the options pits for the SPX, which is one of the bigger ones in Chicago, and then moved over to the New York Stock Exchange for quite a while, where I was the primary market maker for NASDAQ-related options, Russell-related options, and some other things like emerging markets and things like that. After being on the floor for maybe 7 or 8 years, I went and started a fund in the crude oil commodity space with two other partners that were from the same space in Chicago, and yeah, we did that doing kind of asymmetric volatility strategies for quite a while, before I kind of took my first full career pivot into crypto, which was 2017, 2018, where I helped start a SEC registered and CFTC registered hedge fund out of Greenwich, Connecticut, where we were trading kind of a lot of the BTC and Ethereum options in the space. And that was a little bit earlier than, we had built this fund to kind of do a lot of institutional grade in sort of financial tools. And it was a little bit before the institutions had arrived in the industry. So yeah, we were kind of there building a lot of stuff out, but the institutions we thought were coming then, but feels like only in the last kind of two to 3 years have they really started to arrive in the space. And kind of after that, made my way to kind of doing some more like on-chain, kind of getting familiar with DeFi protocols and how certain things worked kind of in the DeFi summer zone. Found myself kind of investing in some in protocols and startups and things like that in the space. And soon after that, joined Dragonfly to build out their what's it called, their options arm of their liquid fund. Um, so in that time, I spent quite a bit of time doing more more Ethereum and Bitcoin options in that space, and then kind of soon after that, created or joined up with a project coming out of Huobi, which was called Cube at the time. This was a modular blockchain out of there, where I was for a little while the CTO and then the CEO, and that was sort of the genesis of how we started Nero. Was coming from that background.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for your introduction. So welcome, Jake. And I see there's more fams joining us. So welcome, everyone. I think we can start our main discussion today. So it's about the Neros ecosystem development. So Jake, we actually see there are many layer one blockchains in the crypto space right now. So what really makes Nero different, and how does it really stand out from others like the Ethereum or Solana?
Sure. I can lead off this answer, and then we can let Marcus, who's our head of DevRel, answer his version, or add anything that I might have missed. What makes Nero different? Nero is designed to essentially give the power back to the application and the builders. We see a lot of blockchains being built that sort of force applications to be constrained by the restrictions of the protocol's gas fees. And so a lot of different people have tried to tackle this a lot of different ways, but still at the end of the day, a lot of most L1s and L2s want the users to be buying and consuming the protocol's own token in order to use the network. And we find this to be kind of a long-term bad design all around. We see successful applications on a lot of protocols end up leaving the protocol that they're on because they realize that a lot of the value is captured by the protocol itself, and they think, hey, this isn't fair. Like, I'm the one bringing all of the users and the transaction to this protocol. I should be making a bigger part of the value. I should be capturing more of the value than I am. So then inevitably they tend to want to build their own blockchain or go switch to a different chain where there's better incentives or a better kind of economic deal. We built Nero to kind of skip over all of that, all of those problems. And so why we designed it the way we did is essentially to give all of the pricing power of fees to the application. So the applications can set all of the policies that their own users can see for essentially how the transaction's priced and what token it's denominated in. We think that sort of giving this freedom and this policy pricing back to the applications is sort of this way of creating long-term alignment with them, so that we don't need to continue to offer kind of grants or bribes that kind of lasts just a little while. We can essentially give these applications ways of making more money than they can on any other infrastructure. So that in and of itself is quite long-term aligned and quite the key differentiator for Nero. Marcus, please hop in if there's anything that you feel I've left out.
No, that's great, man. I believe that you covered almost everything. But also to add on top of that, maybe some of the audience can agree that, okay, other blockchain spaces also have native account abstraction or fee sharing mechanisms, but the way that is implemented out there right now, it's not quite there. It's lacking some points that Nero makes easier for developers to use those mechanisms in its ecosystem. So even though those mechanisms are on other ecosystems, the way Nero designs it, it's a way more approachable and way more valuable for developers to build their applications on Nero. So yeah. And thanks. I just hope I'm Marcus. I'm lead DevRel for Nerochain. So if you guys have any questions, just ping me out on the Discord and I will, I will answer them as soon as I can.
Nice. Thanks, Marcus.
Thank you so much, Jake and Marcus. So yes, guys, if you have any question, just put it on Discord and Marcus will help you. So Jake, you just mentioned about the fee redistribution. So, given that actually Narrows rewards the D apps based on the transaction volume. So the question is, how do you prevent the self-trading or the wash trading? Or I can say what measures did Narrow take to ensure the fair and the transparent fee distribution?
Mm. Yeah, so a good question. So, Sybil attack and kind of the bot attacks are quite, common in the industry. Understand why they're done and why people want to do it. But at the end of the day, the way that our paymaster works is that there is still technically a bill owed to the validators. And so this is sort of an inescapable reality of blockchain design. Validators run their own either bare metal or servers. They have, kind of operational costs that have to get covered. And so, generally speaking, gas represents this sort of cost of doing business and sort of the reward for, securing transactions to kind of the immutable ledger is is what they're rewarded for. And so how do we kind of prevent wash trading? Well, we want the applications to be experimenting with, pricing transactions for sure. The I guess they would still have to be, spending their own token within the paymaster in order to sort of unlock or release the Nero token to the validators itself. So to that effect, it wouldn't really allow for any kind of wash trading because there's still a bit of there's still value that has to get kind of paid to the network. Maybe I'm not totally understanding the question exactly as it was intended, but that's how I would say it is kind of there's not really a way for people to wash trade using the paymaster because it's there's still a kind of a financial duty owed to the validators at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I would say that the way Nero's paymaster is it combats the wash trading. It's effectively done through two core mechanisms: the contribution-based fee sharing, that Neros distribute the transactions fees to applications based on genuine contributions metrics, and those metrics are totally on-chain. So it's not about just simple transaction value, and each real value is assessed based on actual user engagement. So this is one thing that the paymasters can be used to combat wash trading, but also the paymaster transaction through the paymaster and transaction sponsorship verification. Transactions on Nero often go through the paymasters. We want them to go through the paymasters. So, and those paymasters are specialized contracts responsible for the management and the sponsoring the gas fees. So those things together it's a good combination on how we can kind of prevent the wash trading in at the end of the day. So yeah, I believe that I brought some two core mechanisms that make this wash trading possible. The prevention of the wash trading possible. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Marcus and Jake. That really answered my question. I also know that actually Nerochain already launched its mainnet. So I also see many chains they really become stagnant after their mainly launch. So what is Nero's long-term sustainability, or Jay, can you share with us more on the long-term roadmap of Nero?
Yeah, so we're technically live, but it's sort of a soft launch. We invited some key partners into mainnet. Not fully announced everywhere. We're not publishing chain IDs on all of the outlets. It's still still somewhat of a I guess DevNet or an AlphaNet, even though mainnet is technically live. A lot of blockchains sort of do this where you don't want to just kind of like launch without some testing, and so we are establishing a lot of the kind of key core contracts and partners on the network first before we kind of really start to kind of share this message with everyone. So you guys who are here are early. The question about stagnation is a great one. So the way we think about this, kind of going back to the idea of how we align incentives, is how I would answer the question. A lot of chains stagnate partially because they just run out of juice or firepower, which usually translates to run out of grants to give or bribes to give to incentivize people to develop on their chain. The way we think about it is like kind of the analogy of like the expression, if you're familiar, which is, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, you teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. So we think, giving a man a fish is kind of like the whole, kind of the general grant paradigm that exists today. You're sort of giving somebody or giving a developer, just money in exchange for, a sort of one-time KPI. It's very transactional. It's very much, very short-lived. And then once the KPI has been met or delivered, the application itself doesn't have a lot of motivation to continue because they just wanted that money and they're going to go away and look for the next chain giving them money. I know it sounds a little bit maybe a little cynical, but it is the kind of standard that happens right now for kind of most interactions between applications and infra. So how we combat the stagnation is taking the approach of teaching a man to fish. So what does that mean in the context of Nero? That means allowing the applications to use the paymaster and the kind of customizable fee space to generate new and unique types of fee revenues that they could not gather on other chains. So the assumption is the applications know their users better than we as the infrastructure do, and so they can sort of price transactions granularly according to the preferences and what they know about their customers. And so over the long term, sort of the applications can capture a lot more of the value of a transaction supply chain than we as the network can. Rather than us just giving kind of a one-time grant, we give this kind of long-term value capture to them, sort of, I'd say like somewhat at our expense. So that is how we are going to prevent stagnation, is by kind of keeping these incentives aligned kind of long-term. Marcus, anything else to add?
No, this one was perfect, man. I don't have anything to add on those, but from the developer perspective on this, it's just a good analogy that when we create applications on normal environments like Web2, I was a software engineer for over 10 years. I am a software engineer actually, but when we create those kinds of applications, we see how and we get back the value of what those applications create on the ecosystem we are. But most, as you mentioned, in Web3, most of those values is monopolized in the infrastructure. So the way we believe that we can make a sustainable and long-term career for developers in Nerochain is this architecture and economic incentives that is designed to naturally encourage the developers to grow their applications, because more users are using their applications, more they can capture. It has any other applications in any other environments. So that's the main deal. The main thing that I see that is very, very attractive for my side as a developer in building Nerochain. So if I create a very successful application, then I will have more value returned for me at the end of the day.
Thank you so much, Marcus and Jake. I think you already mentioned a lot about the developers incentive, which is really attractive. And yeah, according to the marketing campaign we are running right now, so we see we are running the puzzle campaign on Galaxy right now. So would you like to give us more introduction on what is the puzzle campaign and what's the next stage of the puzzle campaign, or I can say what our community or the developers or the project side may get in the end of this campaign?
How about you can intro that one. I'll let you intro that one, Miranda.
Okay. So we are having our pre-heat marketing campaign right now called the Puzzle campaign. So actually, you can imagine that the Narrows ecosystem is one full masterpiece, and all of our partners and the projects based on the Narrow are just like the different puzzles. So we are collecting them together through finishing the collaboration task, and we can unlock an entire miracle of Narrow. For now, the puzzle campaign is currently our marketing team's focus, and that will last for a long time until something big. Yes, it will be updated continuously with the development of our ecosystem. And for now, I think we already partnership with the project including the Router, XO, Bima, and Universe. They have already joined us, joined our ecosystem, and joined our puzzle campaign. And think we are also exploring more to invite more project and add more ecosystem partners to join us, to join the puzzle campaign.
Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah,
good intro.
it's
30 plus 30 to 40 projects so far. We've got some other interesting ones in the pipeline as well. I think Router, XO, Bima, Universe. Router is really interesting in terms of architecture. It's one of the I think it's one of the integrations that's going to simplify a lot of bridging. We're going to be partnering with them quite closely for a lot of cross-chain intent type of activities that allows for money to be spent from one chain to another without having to do the traditional bridging methods. So that's pretty cool, pretty cool stuff. And I mean we could go through all of the list of interesting applications, but I don't think we have too much time for it.
Yeah, so yes, so everyone can just keep eyes on our campaign in the following 1 month to see if there's any big projects or partners joining us as a puzzle. So I think from my side, I still have one final question is more about the community side. I think most of our audience may also curious about. So some of us have already followed the community's events for around 1 month, and we can see that there are many interesting roles in the level system that our guys can participate. So the question is, what is the difference between the narrow role and samurai system and the development community?
Yeah. So you can help me if I get any of these wrong. But first of all, we're super happy to have such a big and strong community, and thank you everyone for participation. So the warrior role is just those who are, good contributors to the community. You can get this role by, chatting in Discord, chatting in the general channel, participating in community events, making content. That type of thing is the kind of category of the warrior. Second, the samurai program is attractive for influencers or content creators if that's more of your specialty. We sort of want to encourage users and creators to do content creation for supporting the Nero ecosystem. So whether it's memes, whether it's educational content, whether just get creative. We love the creativity. So that sort of second category is a little bit more for active creators or active content makers. And then so there's, I guess, three levels around kind of samurai. So ambassadors with different contribution levels. So we'll prepare kind of 3 different rewards for each of that tier. And so I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Miranda, but I think does that designation sound accurate for you?
Yes. So yeah, I think you give a really clear answer on the community side. All right, so I think thank you so much, Jake and Marcus. So I think that's pretty much for all of my question. So now let's open the floor to the audience. So fams, if you have any question, just raise your hand. I think we will select 3 to 5 members to answer the questions. Yes. Question, please raise your hand. Nope. So I think Jake and Marcus, you guys are giving a really clear, answer on all of the questions and give a really clear view on the Narrows ecosystem and the latest progress and the future vision. I think that's pretty much for today's AMA. Thank you so much for your valuable insights. And yes, guys, don't forget to check the Narrow's latest update and upcoming campaigns. Just stay connect with us on the Twitter, Discord, DC, and our website. Thank you so much for joining today. Thank you.